If you went to see The Devil Wears Prada 2 and walked away thinking that was perfect, I wouldn't change a thing. This video is not for you. So I went to see the film in cinemas and we're just gonna get into it. All of the spoilers ahead. I'll start with the good things first. All of the main cast returning to their roles did such a fantastic job. You can tell that they genuinely cared about what they were doing and it was all coming from such a real place. Nigel and Emily are still perfect characters. They have some great one-liners and I just wanted more of them. Everyone looked stunning, the outfits throughout were gorgeous. I think that's it. The beginning of the film had promise. It starts with Andy losing her job and shouting what seems like it's going to be the focus of the film, which is that journalism fucking matters. And it was kind of about that, and kind of about a lot of things, while also about very little in the end. The storyline was somewhat aimless. We start out and there's a big scandal that's hit the Runway magazine, so Andy is hired as the head editorial writer to help their image. Except they fixed this fairly early on into the film, so we end up kind of hopping around multiple different story threads without ever really landing anywhere. The thing is, Andy didn't have a character arc. The first film ends with her deciding that her integrity means more to her than the glamorous but cutthroat world that Miranda is offering her. She goes from hating Miranda to becoming deeply loyal to finally a place of respect and understanding. In this film, she's suddenly back where she was, deeply loyal to Miranda, who has done nothing to earn that level of loyalty, and yet a huge portion of the film is dedicated to Andy trying to help her keep her job. Also, one of the driving factors is that she wants to keep her job at Runway because it pays really well and it can afford her to get an expensive new apartment. But wasn't that part of the point of the first film? Integrity over wealth and glamour? She talks about how she's only there for the paycheck and is hoping to get back to real journalism eventually. She then begins to transform the type of articles they write at Runway so they have more substance. But we don't know what she's actually writing about, and I think this is supposed to be her realizing she can do both, but it's not really given the focus it needs to be a fully realized arc or plot thread. The film is more concerned with glamour, with wealth, with Diet Coke. There's a part of the film that is trying to say something about print media dying out and creativity being replaced by AI. But ironically, it spends the majority of the time on so many unnecessary celebrity cameos and product placement. I mean, the amount of advertising outside of the film was insane. But then I'm literally seated in the cinema, still getting Devil Wears Prada themed ads. Like, I already bought the ticket, leave me alone. It kind of felt like the same problem the Barbie movie had, where they were joking about capitalism, but couldn't critique it too hard since Mattel themselves were the ones funding it. In a similar vein, I guess it's harder to criticize the fashion industry when you're directly working with so many of the labels. Let's talk about Andy's love interest. Why is there a man here? He is suddenly introduced and bears no impact whatsoever on the rest of the film. I mean, you could cut him out completely and nothing would change. I was genuinely baffled by his inclusion, and I'm honestly wondering, was anyone invested or interested in this relationship? Why are we so scared to have a film end with Andy single? Audiences can understand that we're just seeing a snapshot of someone's life. Like, if we don't see Andy end up with anyone in this film or even have any kind of romantic subplot, I don't think anyone's gonna walk away going, wow, I can't believe they just wrote that Andy is single for the rest of her life. Like, this is a point in time that we're seeing. Not every period of someone's life has to have anything to do with relationships. We can end this film and assume that she's gonna find love eventually, or maybe not. Who knows? It wasn't important to this film at all. So why was it forced in? Anyway, just get rid of this man and replace his every scene with Emily, because how did she end up being kind of an antagonist after we barely saw her for most of the film? Emily Blunt effortlessly transforms into Emily. Why couldn't this film have been about her and Andy's relationship? One of the last scenes is them officially becoming friends, and it's so sweet and heartfelt. There are so many small moments like this peppered throughout the film, like Nigel calling Andy his girl. But Emily randomly becomes an antagonist for a portion of the film, and it's weird because she didn't approach Andy with this plan. Andy happens to see her in Italy and asks if her rich boyfriend can buy runway. Wouldn't it have felt more like a betrayal if the two of them had become closer throughout the film, Emily suggests the plan, and then it's revealed that she was planning all along on taking over runway herself? It would have added higher stakes. I don't know, I still think it was weird, but that's one way they could have maybe made it work. Also, a quick tangent. They had so many celebrity cameos that I don't understand why Hugh Jackman was mentioned at all if they couldn't get him on screen. I can't explain why this bothered me so much, but it did. Let's talk about Nigel and Miranda. The first film ends with Miranda backstabbing Nigel and him then telling Andy that one day he'll be thanked for everything he's done. In this film, we see that years later, she still hasn't given him his moment, but she suddenly has this change of heart. After very little prompting, Andy literally just kind of gestures towards Nigel. Miranda walks up to him and asks if she's overlooked him this whole time. Miranda is a narcissist, and this moment enforces that Nigel's been right to let her mistreat him all these years, because she finally gives him the spotlight and lets him be the one to read the speech that he wrote. And we don't even get to hear it. He says 3 sentences of it, and then we cut away. There was so much setup to things that didn't matter. Nigel's speech didn't matter. The fact that Andy stained a dress that she was explicitly told not to didn't matter. The secret book deal didn't matter because Miranda knew about it anyway. The Hamptons didn't matter. Why did we go there? Miranda and Andy have a conversation that could have happened literally anywhere. You could take that scene and place them in the office and nothing would have been different. I thought there was going to be some fun and drama at the Hamptons. I think that was one of the biggest disappointments of the film. I just didn't find it very fun. But the biggest issue of all is how they resolve the main conflict of the film. What's-his-face has inherited runway from his father and wants to downsize every department and take away any artistic freedom the employees have. Emily's boyfriend then puts in an offer to buy it so she can take over. Andy then makes a bunch of phone calls, and in the end, Lucy Liu's character ends up buying out Emily's boyfriend, promising to stay out of the way and let them have all the creative freedom they want. Miranda gets to stay in charge, and Andy is head of editorial. So what exactly is the message of this film? Just find someone rich and nice to buy you out before the rich and mean person does? Like, yeah, okay, I'll get right on that. My friend that I went to see this with thought that those calls Andy was making was her securing deals on Miranda's behalf, that Miranda was going to start an independent company. Because this sort of stuff does happen to magazines and journalists in real life. Wouldn't it have been cool to see the characters leaving the big company where they have no power to starting their own independent where Andy can tell the stories she wants to and Miranda never has to worry about being at the whims of others ever again? She's surely got the contacts to make this happen. Truly, what was the central message of this film? Because I can't accept billionaires are chill sometimes. I think the film is trying to celebrate that these two women both love their jobs, which is great until you put it in context with the first movie. In the original, Andy loses her friends, her boyfriend, and herself because of the job. Meanwhile, Miranda has nothing outside of her work. She loves it, but she's not a happy person. In the sequel, Miranda is in a long-term relationship and Andy goes on to find love, and we don't see any kind of effect the work they do has on these relationships. Andy gets into a tiff with, I think he's called Peter, but this isn't due to the job or any kind of flaw that the movie is exploring within the character. Andy isn't challenged by the narrative. Like in the first one, she has impossible tasks to complete, but unlike the first one, she's not challenged emotionally or morally. So when you look at the story on its own, it's kind of mediocre. When you consider it as a sequel, it kind of goes against a lot of what the original stood for. Now, I'm not saying that we need yet another story about how women just can't have it all, that they have to choose between career and love, but some conflict, even if it's nothing to do with their relationships, something that is challenging them. That is literally all I am asking for. Look, the people involved clearly cared about making this film. I cannot dispute that. I guess I just don't really understand why, after so many years later, this is the story that they went with. Okay, so that was very different from the usual types of videos I do, especially if you went from watching my last one to this one. Huge tonal shift, and I acknowledge that. But we're trying new things out, so I hope you like this. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to subscribe and like the video if this is your kind of thing. Thanks again, and bye-bye. They had so many celebrity cameos. What? They had so many celebrity cameos. What are celebrios? Celebrity cam. I got it already. I got it earlier. I mean the amount of. It's fine. It's fine. I did a really good take for this earlier. It's fine. That's right.